The SUV sitting in your driveway may look safer, tougher, and more respectable. But for an older driver, it can quietly become a daily obstacle course that costs thousands of dollars more than necessary. Every high step, heavy swinging door, narrow opening, and awkward climb gets harder when your knees, hips, shoulders, or balance are not what they used to be. And that is exactly why some of the smartest used car shoppers are walking past expensive crossovers and buying the vehicle the market taught them to ignore: the minivan. The right used minivan gives you a low floor, a seat that is easier to reach, power sliding doors, room for a walker, space for grandkids, and enough cargo capacity to handle almost anything a mid-size SUV can carry. Better yet, several proven models now sell for ordinary used car money because buyers are chasing rugged styling instead of practical engineering. In this video, we are counting down 5 affordable used minivans that make far more sense for many seniors than an SUV, including the years to target the versions to avoid and the expensive warning signs you need to catch before you buy. These vans were selected for useful powertrains, parts availability, passenger access, cargo flexibility, and the possibility of long service when maintenance has not been ignored. That last condition matters. A good badge cannot rescue a neglected transmission, and a famous engine cannot undo 10 years of skipped oil changes. Always check the vehicle identification number for open recalls, review service records, and pay for an independent pre-purchase inspection. With that understood, starting at number 5 is the value choice that still gets overlooked because many shoppers remember the Kia of 20 years ago instead of the Kia that built this van. The 2015 through 2018 Kia Sedona is one of the cheapest ways to get a modern-feeling cabin, strong V6 power, and genuinely useful sliding door access without shopping at the bottom of the market. The first thing to understand is the model year. The redesigned Sedona arrived for 2015, so listings that describe a 2014 as the same generation are mixing two different vans. The 2015 to 2018 version uses a 3.3-liter gasoline direct-injected V6 paired with a 6-speed automatic. It has enough power for highway, merging a full load of passengers and the kind of effortless, low-speed movement that makes a large vehicle feel less stressful in parking lots. For a senior driver, however, horsepower is not the main attraction. The real advantage is how the Sedona behaves when the vehicle is stopped. You do not need to swing a long rear door into the car parked beside you. You do not need to climb over a high rocker panel. You open the sliding door, turn toward the seat, and sit. That simple motion can matter more than another inch of ground clearance ever will. The Sedona also depreciated faster than comparable Toyota and Honda vans, which is bad news for the first owner, but excellent news for the second or third owner. You are often buying more interior, more equipment, and a newer model year for the same money. That makes the Sedona especially attractive for someone who wants power seats, backup assistance, leather on higher trims, and modern comfort without paying the Toyota premium. But the discount exists for a reason, and you need to inspect this van with your eyes open. The direct injection system means intake deposits can become a concern as mileage rises, especially if the engine has spent its life on short trips and irregular oil changes. During the test drive, listen for roughness at idle, hesitation under moderate acceleration, or a check engine light that the seller claims is probably just a sensor. Do not accept that explanation without a scan. Test both sliding doors repeatedly from the outside handle, the interior switch, and the key fob. Make sure they move at the same speed, latch, without bouncing back, and do not make grinding or popping noises. Try every climate control setting, because a minivan with a large cabin is miserable when the rear air does not work. Check the oil level before the engine is started. Look for evidence of coolant loss, and make sure the transmission engages reverse and drive promptly when cold. The best Sedona is not automatically the fanciest one, An LX or EX with complete records can be a smarter purchase than an SX loaded with neglected electronics. This van suits a buyer who wants maximum vehicle for minimum purchase price and is willing to be more disciplined about inspection. It is not the choice for someone who wants the strongest resale value or who plans to buy blindly from a parking lot seller. Find a clean 2017 or 2018 with consistent maintenance, working doors, and no warning lights. And the Sedona can deliver a surprisingly upscale ownership experience for family sedan money. The next van is even cheaper in many markets, and it offers a feature no rival has ever copied quite as well, but it also punishes buyers who confuse a low price with a low cost. Number 4 is the 2014 through 2016 Chrysler Town Country. Mention Chrysler minivans in a room full of used car shoppers, and you will hear two completely different stories. One person will tell you the family drove theirs everywhere for years. Another will describe an electrical problem that seemed to reproduce overnight. Both stories can be true, which is why the correct years, service history, and inspection matter so much. By 2014, the Town & Country had the 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 and 6-speed automatic, plus the feature that makes this van unusually useful: stow-and-go seating. The second-row seats fold into wells in the floor, turning the passenger cabin into a flat cargo space, without forcing you to drag heavy seats into the garage. For an older owner, that is not a party trick. It means you can carry a walker, mobility equipment, folding chairs, luggage, gardening supplies, or a bulky purchase without wrestling with removable seats. It also means the van can change jobs in minutes. On Monday, it carries grandkids. On Wednesday, it carries a small piece of furniture. On Friday, it becomes the road trip vehicle. That flexibility is why the Town & Country remains attractive even when its resale value is weak. You get leather power doors, a power liftgate, abundant storage, and a comfortable highway ride, at a price that may barely reach a newer compact car. The danger is buying the most impressive-looking example instead of the best-maintained one. Before you drive it, inspect the ground and the underside for fresh fluid. Look around the top of the engine for oil seepage and smell for hot oil after the test drive. Start the van cold and pay attention to valve train noise that does not quickly settle. The transmission should shift smoothly at light throttle and should not slam flare or hesitate when you slow down and accelerate again. A hard shift once can become an expensive pattern later. Operate every sliding door and lock. Some 2015 and 2016 vans received extended coverage for sliding door lock actuators, so a vehicle identification number check and documentation review are worth the effort. Then inspect the stow-and-go wells. Lift the covers, look beneath mats, and feel for dampness. Water where you cannot see it can create odors, corrosion, and electrical headaches. Test the power liftgate, rear entertainment, equipment, seat heaters, window switches, and every dashboard button. On a simpler vehicle, one dead accessory is an annoyance. On a heavily equipped minivan, several small failures can turn the bargain into a monthly subscription to the repair shop. That does not mean you should avoid the Town & Country. It means you should buy it differently. Do not chase the lowest advertised price. Chase the thickest folder of service records. A well-kept 2014 to 2016 example with calm transmission behavior and fully functioning doors can be a remarkably capable vehicle for a retiree on a strict budget. It is ideal for someone who values cargo flexibility more than resale value and lives near an independent shop familiar with Chrysler products. It is less suitable for a buyer who wants to do nothing beyond oil changes or who becomes anxious every time a dashboard message appears. The Town & Country is the bargain warehouse of this list. Enormous utility inside a low price at the entrance and a few aisles where you need to watch your wallet. The van at number 3 usually costs more, but it solves one of the most overlooked problems older drivers face: not climbing into the vehicle, but using their hands once they get there. Number 3 is the 2011 through 2017 Honda Odyssey, with special attention to the 2014 through 2017 model years. The Odyssey has always been designed around family movement, and many of those same family-friendly features happen to work beautifully for seniors. Wide sliding door openings make it easier to approach the second row with a cane or walker. The seating position feels more chair-like than truck-like. The low cargo floor reduces the height you must lift groceries, luggage, or a folding wheelchair. Controls are generally easy to recognize, and the van feels smaller from the driver's seat than its exterior dimensions suggest. That last point matters. Some older drivers abandon large vehicles because the hood feels distant and the corners feel impossible to judge. The Odyssey's driving position, large glass area, and predictable steering make it less intimidating than many full-size SUVs. Mechanically, this generation uses Honda's 3.5-liter V6. It is smooth, strong, and widely supported by parts and repair knowledge, but it is not maintenance-free. The most important item is the timing belt. Unlike the Toyota V6, coming later in this list, the Honda uses a belt that must be serviced according to the maintenance schedule and vehicle conditions. If the seller cannot document the timing belt service on a higher mileage Odyssey, treat the job as overdue and budget for a complete service that commonly includes the belt tensioner-related seals as needed and often the water pump while access is available. A cheap van with no belt record is not cheap. It is simply handing you the previous owner's maintenance bill. The second issue is Honda's cylinder deactivation system, commonly called VCM. It is designed to improve fuel economy by allowing the engine to run on fewer cylinders under light load. On some higher mileage vans, especially those with inconsistent maintenance, buyers may encounter oil consumption concerns, worn engine mounts, vibration, or drivability symptoms. You do not need to become an engineer to inspect for this. Check the oil level. Watch the exhaust after startup. Let the van idle with the air conditioning on and feel for excessive shaking through the steering wheel and seat. Accelerate gently from neighborhood speeds and listen for a dull vibration as the engine changes operating modes. A smooth, quiet example with documented oil changes is a much safer bet than a van whose owner says it has always done that. Transmission details also matter. Early fourth-generation Odysseys did not all use the same transmission configuration, while 2014 brought the 6-speed automatic across the lineup. That is one reason the 2014 to 2017 range is often the easiest target for shoppers who want the later setup without stepping into the more complex next generation. During the test drive, confirm that shifts are clean, both cold and fully warmed up. Then, inspect the sliding doors. They should open, close, and latch consistently on level ground and a slight incline. Check the lower tracks for debris, verify the rollers move smoothly, and make sure the door does not reverse for no obvious reason. Inside, fold and slide every second row seat. An Odyssey with a beautiful exterior but damaged seat hardware can be less useful than a scratched van that was maintained properly. Who should buy it? The Odyssey is excellent for a driver who values easy access, confident road manners, a refined cabin, and strong nationwide parts support. It is also a smart choice for grandparents who regularly handle child seats, because the cabin is designed around reaching passengers rather than merely carrying them. Who should pass? Anyone unwilling to verify the timing belt history, anyone buying a van with unexplained oil loss, or anyone assuming the Honda badge cancels the need for inspection. The Odyssey is like a well-designed home with an important roof replacement in its future. Maintain the major item on schedule, and the rest of the experience can be deeply rewarding. Ignore it, and the bill arrives all at once. The final two positions belong to the same nameplate, but they serve two very different owners. The first is for people who truly need winter traction. The second is for nearly everyone else. Number 2 is the 2011 through 2016 Toyota Sienna with all-wheel drive. For years, the Sienna's defining advantage was simple. It was the minivan for shoppers who wanted easier passenger access without giving up all-weather capability. That combination is especially valuable for older couples in snowy states who have been told their only sensible choice is a tall SUV. The all-wheel drive Sienna gives you a lower, more welcoming passenger area and power sliding doors, while still sending power to all four wheels when conditions demand it. It will not turn an icy road into dry pavement, and it does not replace winter tires, but it can provide useful traction when climbing a snowy driveway or pulling away on a slick street. The 2011 to 2016 vans use Toyota's 3.5-liter V6 and a 6-speed automatic. This powertrain family has a long track record across several Toyota and Lexus vehicles. Parts are widely available, and many independent shops know it well. More important for a fixed-income owner, it avoids a turbocharger and uses a timing chain rather than a scheduled timing belt. That does not mean there are no expenses. A WD adds components weight and maintenance points. The rear driveline fluids need attention, even when the previous owner insists the system is sealed. Tires matter more, because mismatched sizes and uneven wear can stress an all-wheel drive system. Many AWD Siennas from this period were equipped in a way that left no conventional spare tire, often relying on run-flat tires. So, check exactly what the van includes and decide whether that setup fits your travel habits. Run-flats can be expensive, ride firmly, and may not be available immediately in every small town. A roadside plan and a tire strategy are not optional details if you travel far from home. During inspection, turn tightly in both directions at low speed and listen for binding clicking or groaning. Accelerate gently and make sure there is no shudder through the floor. Look for leaks around the engine cooling system and driveline. Confirm that all four tires match in brand, model size, and similar tread depth. Operate the sliding doors and lift gate several times because those convenience features are central to why you are buying the van in the first place. Inspect the door cables and listen for grinding. Check the rear climate system, heated seats if equipped, and the backup camera. Then, look at the underside for corrosion, especially on vans that have spent their lives in road salt. Surface rust is common in winter regions. Heavy scaling around structural or suspension mounting areas is a different conversation. The best buyer for the AWD Sienna is someone who regularly faces snow, steep, wet roads, a gravel driveway, or winter travel, and is willing to maintain the extra hardware. The wrong buyer is someone in a warm, flat climate who wants AWD only because the letters feel reassuring. In that case, you are paying a higher purchase price, accepting more complexity, and possibly buying more expensive tires without receiving a meaningful daily benefit. This distinction is exactly why the number one van is not the most heavily equipped version. It is the simpler one. Number 1 is the 2011 through 2016 Toyota Sienna with front-wheel drive, preferably an LEXLE, or Limited, chosen by condition rather than badge. This is the used minivan that best combines easy access, strong parts support, a roomy cabin, comfortable highway behavior, and mechanical simplicity relative to the AWD version. It does not look adventurous. It will not help you pretend every grocery trip is an expedition. It simply removes friction from ordinary life, and ordinary life is where a vehicle proves its value. The floor is lower than what you climb into with many traditional SUVs. The sliding doors create a wide opening, even in a tight parking space. The front seats allow a more natural sit and turn movement than the upward pull required by a truck-based vehicle. The cargo opening is low enough that a bag of soil suitcase or folded walker does not have to be lifted to shoulder height. The cabin is wide, the controls are familiar, and the V6 has enough reserve power that merging with passengers does not feel like asking permission from traffic. Under the hood, target the 3.5-liter V6 and 6-speed automatic combination used in the AWD van. Toyota briefly offered a 2.7-liter 4-cylinder in some front-wheel drive 2011 and 2012 trims. But the V6 is the better fit for a fully loaded van and became the only engine for 2013. The front-wheel drive layout removes the rear drive hardware and simplifies the ownership picture. It also allows conventional tire choices and generally avoids the AWD-specific compromises that some owners do not need. This is why the FWD Sienna can be the smarter long-term buy, even when the AWD version looks more capable on a listing page. Capability you never use is just complexity you continue to maintain. The challenge is that the market understands the Sienna's reputation. Clean examples often cost more than comparable Kia or Chrysler vans, and sellers sometimes treat the Toyota emblem like a substitute for service records. Do not fall for it. A neglected Sienna can still leak overheat shift poorly, wear out suspension components, and develop expensive power door problems. Start with the cold engine. Listen for abnormal rattles. Check the coolant level, and inspect for dried coolant residue or fresh seepage. Verify that the engine reaches normal temperature without warning lights or a sweet smell. On the road, the transmission should move away smoothly downshift without a harsh bang, and remain calm after a long test drive. Find an empty parking area and make several slow turns while listening for suspension clunks. Brake firmly enough to detect pulsation or pulling. Check the power doors from every switch. A slow door frayed cable, uneven movement, or grinding sound is not a reason to panic, but it is a reason to price the repair before you agree to the deal. Inspect the liftgate struts and power function. Make sure the rear climate control changes temperature and fan speed. Look beneath the seats for signs of spilled drinks, corrosion, or damaged wiring, especially if the van spent years carrying children. Review the maintenance records for regular oil changes, coolant service, transmission fluid service, brake work, and tire replacement. Toyota owners sometimes say the van never needed anything, when what they really mean is they never approved anything. Those are not the same statement. Trim selection should follow your body, not your ego. Cloth can provide more grip when entering and exiting, while leather can make it easier for some people to pivot across the seat. Power seat adjustment may be essential if two drivers share the van. Heated seats can help in cold weather, but a complicated entertainment system is not valuable if nobody uses it. An LE with excellent records can be better than a limited with a dead screen, tired doors, and neglected fluids. Pay attention to visibility. Sit in the vehicle for 10 minutes before driving. Can you turn your head comfortably? Do the mirrors cover the areas you need? Can you reach the pedals without sitting too close to the steering wheel? Is the seat cushion supportive behind your knees? Does the center console interfere with your leg? These questions are more important than any online ranking because the most reliable van in America is useless if your body dislikes it. Front-wheel drive Sienna earns the top position because it asks for fewer compromises than the others. It costs more than the Chrysler, but it usually carries less uncertainty. It may cost more than the Kia, but it holds demand better. It lacks the Honda's sharper driving feel, but it uses a timing chain and offers a relaxed, straightforward ownership experience. Compared with many SUVs, it gives up ground clearance and rugged styling, but returns easier doors, a lower cargo floor, flexible passenger space, and less physical effort every single day. That is the larger lesson behind this list. The best vehicle for an older driver is not the one that looks strongest in a commercial. It is the one that reduces the number of small struggles between your front door and your destination. A vehicle should not require a warm-up exercise before you can sit down. It should not force you to twist around a giant door in a narrow parking space. It should not make loading a walker feel like moving furniture. For some buyers, an SUV is still the correct answer, especially when ground clearance towing or rough road travel is genuinely part of life. But many seniors are paying extra for an image while making access, loading, and daily comfort worse. A carefully inspected minivan can be the more independent choice, not the less exciting one. The Kia Sedona offers newer features for less money. The Town & Country offers unmatched cargo flexibility at a bargain price. The Honda Odyssey combines thoughtful access with polished road manners. The AWD Sienna serves real winter needs. And the front-wheel drive Sienna delivers the simplest all-around formula for most buyers. Whichever one fits your budget, remember that the model year, maintenance file, accident history, tire condition, door operation, and pre-purchase inspection matter more than the name on the grille. Now tell me which one you would trust for your own family, and which overlooked minivan has given you the best service. Share the year mileage and biggest repair in the comments so other buyers can learn from real ownership. If this guide helped you look past the SUV marketing and focus on the vehicle that actually fits your life, like the video and subscribe for more used car guides built around avoiding expensive mistakes.